Welcome to my channel.
Hello guys, welcome again to Little Lamb Bible Stories. This is a channel where we share God's stories and God's love, one story at a time. So come along with me today. Let's share the story of the children of the Israelites crossing the Red Sea. All right, so this story is a story some of us know, some of us have probably forgotten, but I'm going to just refresh us about it. So the children of Israel, the Israelites were slaves in Egypt so many years ago, a very long time ago. They were slaves in Egypt, and then they were there for years. They've been there over maybe 40 years and all that. And then God felt it was time to get them off being slaves into back to where He wants them to be. So God said, "Okay, you know what? I'm going to send somebody to help you to get them out of slavery." So Moses, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Moses was a woman born of an Israel, was an Israel, a child born of an Israelite woman, and then there was issues about the child and everything, and then there were killings at that time, and then the child had to grow up in the palace. I'm going to tell us the story of Moses in another video, but this one is not about it. So at this point Moses had grown, he's left the palace, and then he was back as God had told him to come rescue his people, deliver his people from slavery. So he had returned back to the same home where he grew up, the palace, the king Pharaoh's palace where he grew up. So he's come back, but not as a prince at this time. Now he's come back to help deliver the children of Israel from slavery. So God sent Moses and said, okay. So Moses came with Aaron, his brother, and then God said, okay, all right, told him to come and help deliver the children of Israel. So he came, told Pharaoh. Pharaoh refused. He made several attempts, did so many magic miracles and everything to get Pharaoh to religion of Israel. I know I'll do that in another video, not here. And then Pharaoh still refused to let the children of Israel go. And finally, God decided to know, you know what, at this point in time, we're going to have to do one last thing, and then the children of Israel can go. So the last one he did was he made the firstborns of the Egyptians to die. Anyway, so eventually the King Pharaoh agreed to allow the children of Israel to leave, to just probably get their freedom and leave. And then he said, okay, so Moses, you can take them. And then Moses and the Israelites packed up their things and everything, and then they set out to leave. But of course, with the master and the slave, sometimes the master does not really want the slave to go. So the master, maybe when he said they can go, he realized that okay, these people are the ones who do so much work, build this wall, do this one for us, to clean the floor, clean the streets, fetch water, do this. Now they're gone. Who's gonna fill in the space? Who's gonna, and there are a lot of them. How am I gonna start employing? Who's gonna fill in the job? Who's gonna do this job? Like, no, I don't think I think it was a wrong decision. We need to get them back. And King Pharaoh sent out his men to run after to pursue the Israelites and to get them back. He feels that they need to get back to slavery. He doesn't think they need to be released. He feels they should come continue as being slaves as they were. And the children of Israel were going happily singing and being joyous and happy that they finally left slavery, and they were going to whatever land they were going to go to have their freedom and live their life as non-slaves anymore. And then along the line, where they were going and going, they were probably going and singing, dancing, and probably stopping and, buying chingum and sweet, and, telling all the stories. And some of them were probably telling the stories of what their master did to them. And what the master did to them, what the master's wife, there were stories they were doing, but they were happy, jubilating, and happy to live. Well, I hope all of them were happy, because sometimes when people are in slavery, they probably want to still remain slaves. Well, a part of the story later in down in the history showed some of them didn't even want to leave being slaves. They still remember their onions and everything they used to eat in Egypt. Anyways, so well, that's be another story. So here they say leaving, they say traveling, moving, working and all that. So imagine a whole community, like I don't know how many people, thousands of people. So they're not going to be hurried because they think they've been allowed to leave. So they took their time, walking slowly, just and Moses was the leader. So Moses was in front leading them, telling them of God's faithfulness, of God's love and God's power and everything. And then they headed out. And along the line, as they were going, they suddenly realized that, looking back, like they could hear or probably first see them. It looks like they're seeing like some chariots running, like coming towards them. So, and then they said when they were approaching the Red Sea, they realized that, okay, this is the Red Sea we're approaching, just forward. And at the back we could hear hooves, we could hear sounds that like some people are coming behind. And lo and behold, the people coming were the army of Egypt, coming to get these Israelites back into slavery. And some of them panicked. Of course, they were like, "Oh my God! Now they're going to probably kill some of us and drag us back by force. Oh my God! Now they're going to destroy us and everything." And I'm sure at that moment they started panicking. They were scared. They can't move forward. They can't move back. This is the Red Sea in front of ahead of them, and behind them is the armies of the Egyptians army. So they were like, it's like being between the devil and the deep blue sea, or whatever. Anyway, so, and then they ran to some of them started calling Moses, like, come on, what is the plan now? We're here. This is the Red Sea ahead of us, and then the Egyptians are behind us. They're going to probably kill some of us, kill our children. I'm sure the women were already panicking and grabbing their babies. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to kill our child, because they seem not to be messy. They seem to they're going to deal with them mercilessly, the way they were charging and moving forward and coming. And Moses went to the Lord and be like, God, please, you did not tell these people to come out from that place to be killed in between, like here, like that cannot be the plan. I'm sure we have a better plan. And God asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? And Moses had the rod, well, the staff of office, basically. And God said, use that rod and raise the rod up, and then the in front of the sea. That's the Red Sea. And Moses, the Red Sea is still the same Red Sea now in modern time. So Moses raised the sword, the sword, yeah, the stick, whatever it is, it was a stick. Raised the stick up in front of the Red Sea, and then the sea started parting, like started moving, and there were dry ground. It was moving, and the ground was drying as the sea. So imagine the water parting ways, forming like a wall, and then you have dry ground, like dry right now ground to walk on. And then the Lord told Moses to tell the Israelites to move, proceed on the dry ground. And first, I'm sure everyone will be like, Jesus, like how? What if it floods back? Imagine that big sea. But they had no other option, because it's either you move forward or be dead. So they knew they had to. So Moses told them, let's move. God has told us to move. And then I'm sure the first few people that will probably step on it will be like, no, everybody come, the land is dry, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody rushed into the dry ground, and then you can imagine, at the side you will see shark, or you see whale, you see all these fishes, you see, oh my God, like it looks like a museum, like where we've got these museums where you have, water tank, and then you're on the rain, and you have the water tank and the fish and everything. Anyways, I digress. So they started moving on the dry ground, rushing, because now the Israelites are really, really like coming. I mean, the armies of the Egyptians were really coming, charging so fiercely at them. And then they started moving and crossing through the Red Sea on the dry ground to the other side of it. As they were going and going, remember that they were walking on their foot, and then but the Egyptians army were on horses, so they were charging and running so fast enough to be able to catch them. And well, as we were finishing up the walk through the Red Sea on the dry ground, the Egyptians army rushed into the thing, like, you know what, it's all open, everybody's charging through. I'm sure when they charged into the Red Sea, they didn't think of whatever could have happened. They didn't think that, I mean, what if anything happens? They felt that, you know what, whatever has opened that Red Sea for you, we are crossing it to the other. All of us are crossing this Red Sea to the other side. Whatever it is you're going, we are getting there together. Anyways, so the children of Israel tried to, hurry up to finish the crossing. And when they had finished the crossing, the very last person had stepped out of the water. The very last person had stepped out of the water. The water came back. And then the Egyptians armies were drowned in the sea, in the Red Sea. And then the children of the Lord were saved on the other side. I could imagine if I were there, probably would be like that would probably be one of the stories I would tell my kids, my grandkids, my great grand. Like it would be such a miracle I would never ever tend to forget. Because it'd be like I saw it. We just passed through here now, and now it's closed up, and our enemies on the other side were drowned. And this moral of the story here is when moving forward seems to be very tough, and then you don't know what to do, like you don't even know what to do anymore. There's still God to call on. Call on God. Tell him the issues. Tell him what the problem is, and he will create a pathway through a wretched. I mean, he will show you ways even on where you could not imagine. He will open doors that you never thought will open. He will show you mercies, open doors that you never think could be opened. All right, so thank you. That's the end of the story for today. If you're still watching, thank you very much for staying by. So this is Little Lamb Bible Stories. Click the link, share the stories with your friends and families, and come back again to watch this channel for more. I've done some other videos. Please check the page. Check our videos. There are stories in the Bible that probably some of us are beginning to forget. I'm just here to refresh us again and just remind us of God's love. That in each step of our way, God still shows us love. God still shows up for us. And the thing is, do not let God, do not lose track of God. All right, so I'll leave you now for today. I'll see you again in my next video. All right, bye. Thank you for